So in one of our last segments on purchasing a new condo versus a resale condo is interim occupancy. So with new condominiums that are still in the registration phase, there is a fee that you would pay every month that's called interim occupancy. You're not paying your mortgage. What you're paying is basically to keep that condominium running until the builder and the city have registration. Once you have registration, you are then able to apply your mortgage to the property that you're purchasing, and then that's when you would actually have your closing date. So you have your occupancy date. So that's one term. When you're looking at the Tarion that's in your new agreement of purchase and sale, what you're going to see is that it actually says your first tentative occupancy date, not your first tentative closing date. So occupancy allows you to live in the unit while paying that interim occupancy fee to keep the condominium going until you have registration. Once you know that the unit or the condominium itself has registration, that's when your builder will come back to you and say, we have our registration date. Please reach out to your lender and to your lawyer and set up your actual closing date. You then let the builder, or your lawyer would let the builder's lawyer know what that closing date's going to be. And then that's when you have your closing, and that's when you start applying your mortgage. So I think a couple of misconceptions out there is everybody says it's like paying rent. Yes, you can apply the amount that you pay in your interim occupancy to your mortgage. Your mortgage doesn't start until you have registration, and you can't start paying that mortgage down until then. But the builder actually does not make money. This is just to keep the condominium going. So that price that you're paying per month, it's just going to keeping that running. The builder isn't putting that in their own pocket. And typically that interim occupancy fee, it's kind of an estimate until you roughly know exactly when you're going to have your actual occupancy date. And typically it's your purchase price less your deposits. It does interact with the Bank of Canada rate. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you purchase a couple years out, and when you're going to have occupancy, you're going to have probably a different number depending on how that interest rate plays out than when you purchased. So when you're looking at your agreement, typically you'll see your estimate of occupancy fee or of interim occupancy fee, and then your lawyer is going to give you that full amount. And typically you give the builder, a couple months of post-dated checks depending on what they've asked for in the agreement or what they've agreed to with your lawyer. You would give those over, and there's no set date for how long registration can take as well. It could take a couple months. It really, really depends on registration with the city and anything that builder needs to complete in order to get registration from the city. You can always check out the Tarion website or ask your builder representative, read through your Tarion. If you have a question, you can always comment below. Please be sure to like and subscribe, because we're going to be putting more videos on about the differences between buying new versus resale, especially when it comes to condos. There really is a lot of things that are different in those two worlds. And one thing I do want to point out as well, if you're buying an assignment sale, make sure you know that when you're going to be taking possession of it, if you're still in occupancy, or if you're going to be taking it over when it's in registration. So you might want to look at that or have your representative look at that. It's really something that you should need to know, but it is not something that a builder can opt in or opt out of. It's something that happens until a new condominium has registration. So thanks and have a wonderful afternoon. My name is Mbell, and I'm a broker with the My Home and KW Group.